On average, you'll have to wait 31 days to see an OBGYN. And if you're dealing with an infection or outbreak, you know you need care fast. That's where WISP comes in. Connect with a U.S. licensed provider online and pick up safe, effective treatment at your local pharmacy that same day. Plus, get birth control and more delivered in all 50 states. Take control with comprehensive sexual and reproductive care, all from your phone. WISP. That's hellowisp.com. The waiting room can wait.
We are back again for the penultimate episode of this season. It's me, Joe Betance, your local fat guy, and Robert Mata, the man who loves him. Welcome one, welcome all to another episode of RulaskaThoughts. This is for All Stars 10, episode 11, titled Tournament of All Stars Talent Invitational. Apparently the invites were never RSVP'd. But we have another person on the show. Oink, oink.
Oh my God. I'm never living this one down.
Boy, does he love the chubs.
Oh my God.
Mr. Roberto Mata. Hello, Robert.
Hey, Joe. Let's wake it up.
Yeah, you know what? Okay.
Let's wake it up.
I need to know about this. I didn't say anything in the text message thread. So I saw Robert Mata and one Christian Ochoa last week. We went out for nachos. No, tea and nachos.
Tortas.
Which is good. Oh, you had tortas, that's right. He had never had a milanesa before, too, which is... And I didn't want to say anything to Christian, but I actually usually get a beef milanesa. But chicken, I'm sure, was great, too. Because a beef milanesa...
We had both. We split.
Oh, you got a beef milanesa?
I got the carne asada, and he got the milanesa, and then we swapped half sandwiches.
Oh. But in a beef milanesa, it's essentially just... the Mexican version of chicken fried steak. It's not as... Oh, what the fuck is that? Oh. It's not as...
What was that?
It was the opening to this Joe Betance here.
Oh.
I'm so vain. I'm pretty sure this song is about me. I'm so vain.
What kind of Glee cover is this,
girl? Song is about me. Don't you now? Oh, my name's Joe Betance. Today is Monday, July 14th, 2025, and I am the host of a show called This Joe Betance, a show where I talk about everything that happens in my life, and you listen. And today we have a doozy. I learned that somebody that I know... Boy, does he love the chubbies. And we're going to talk about that all right here on one place. That's This Joe Betance right here on Afterthought Media. Anyway, that's how this Joe... So that's actually a good transition. If you want shows like This Joe Betance, This Joe Betance is my daily personal journal, which I have not done in about 3 months. Right? I should bring it up. You know, I'm going to do it today.
Doesn't sound very daily nor personal then.
I know. But, you know, people strangely have been writing to me and saying that they miss it. I stopped doing it because no one was saying anything. And now they're all like, we miss This Joe Betance.
Oh, you live for the applause. Your personal journal is written for an audience. That's a little...
I live for the applause. By the way...
Work at Naisha Lopez.
This Christian and Robert were so mad at me that I'm not into Gaga. Did Christian land up going to Gaga? Let me give the backstory. I did, Christian and I follow each other on Find My. Robert won't share his Find My with me, but
only my sisters have it.
I thought Christian had it too.
Nope, only my sisters, and I think one of my college roommates.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I thought Christian had it.
I don't need y'all to know when I'm just sitting at home, flopping around bed, reading a book.
Well, that's what happened. It's funny that you say that. I have the opposite take because this John Paul is like, because John Paul can see my location, right? I don't care who knows where I am at any one point. Okay.
You have to get mad
And
about it.
and John Paul's like, no, oh my God, no. And I'm like, what are you doing? I know what he does. What does he do? Right? If you
Good
want to know
point.
where I am, I don't go anywhere. I don't go anywhere scandalous. I don't go anywhere. And even if I did, I
No
don't
glory
care.
holes. Not Tiki's adult bar.
No, the zone closed. If the zone was still open, I'm telling you, we would have had an afterthought event there.
Midtown Spa in Melrose. Is that what it was called?
I went there before too. I don't know what it's called,
I went there once.
but I went there with. This is a legendary story. It's on Catching Up.
Wait, you went as a couple to a bathhouse?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure that happens actually, especially now in the age of open relationships.
Oh, we didn't do anything like that. Anyway, so what was I going to say? We were saying
Several
500
things. We were
different.
talking about
people,
Christian with
people
Gaga
can know wherever I
specifically.
was, and then so anyway, I saw that Christian was in Vegas. I remembered he was going with a guy my age to Vegas who was going to pay for him, but the guy was going to Gaga, but Christian didn't know if he was going to snag a ticket or not. Do we know if he snagged one?
I don't know. I didn't follow up. Although I will say, just to be clear, also, Christian is not trying to get some sugar daddy and needs to hang on to an older man's money to do things. He can very well afford to go to Vegas and go to the Gaga show entirely on his own.
I don't need to stand up for Christian, but I'm sure he did. I'm saying I'm sure he did need the money to buy the Gaga ticket and needed the guy, and he would get a sugar daddy. I don't need to defend him. But what I will tell you is that
He is that kind of girl.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Look, it's a transactional exchange. This guy is like, I think you're cute and I have money. I know you want money. I will pay for you to do this.
Not,
and then he's
I
like,
know
okay,
you want money.
I know you have money. I want your money. This is a transactional exchange. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as both parties are aware of what's going on. Where it is sad, where it's an old man who thinks the guy likes him, not for his money.
I think Christian might like this guy, but I'd have to delve deeper.
God forbid the guy said they want to date. Anyway, all this to say, patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia, patreon.com, the app, or just Patreon, the app, Apple Podcasts. Also, you know what I realized? I should tell everybody this. You don't have to listen through the Patreon app, though you totally can. Patreon, you can listen to any podcast app that you want. Apple Podcast,
Spotify.
Pocket Cast, but you can also listen on Spotify. Patreon has a relationship with Spotify and you guys can go now too, even the free people, everybody. If you could go to Afterthought Media Backstage Pass, it's a podcast. Any public shows are there. So that means even the old recaps, everything's there. Spotify, patreon.com, everything. I think I've made the plug. You guys know what it is. We're almost at the end of the season. Okay, Robert, you're a chubby chaser. We talked about that. What I wanted to do now is I want to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to actually talk about the episode. We'll be back right after this.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks, or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Visit USAA.com/bundle.
Bundle savings are off total premium, not available in all states or in all situations. To qualify, auto policy must be active prior to property policy issue, subject to change. Restrictions apply. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
After Zoomies at the dog park, it's time for Drive Up at Target. In goes a big bag of kibble and one squeaky chicken toy for the good boy. Drive Up that's ready when you are, only in the Target app. Just tap Target.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso Virtual Coffee Machines. Ready to enjoy the bold flavors of barista-quality Nespresso iced coffee at home? Simply fill a glass with ice and press the brew button on your virtual pop machine to enjoy rich double espressos roasted to stand up even when chilled. Refreshingly bold iced coffee. Refreshingly easy to make at home. Visit Nespresso.com to shop now.
And we are back. Before you say anything, Robert, I want to make a I wouldn't say a correction. I want to make a clarification. I was listening back to the show yesterday because I listen before it gets released to make sure that it's not an accidental, like, and by the way, I killed someone, like, or some sort of like something I don't want out in the air. And I think I was either distracted or I didn't want to get into it or something like that. But Taylor started getting into his World of Wonder, evil conglomerate multimedia evil empire run by Lex Luthor. And I was like agreeing, and I think I even said, you could probably be right, which to me is when you hear me going, oh, you're probably right. That means I'm not listening. Right?
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, so I don't know what I was doing, but I wasn't listening, okay? And I want to clarify something. So what Taylor's point was that something about, when Mistress said that she had never lip synced for her life and lost a lip sync, that basically the producers decided she was going to go home that day. I want to state for the record, I don't feel that way. The only thing I will say, I will concede, is when you say something like that, it's remembered, and if it happens to fit narratively into the story, it can sort of like tip the scale one way. But I don't think it was like, no matter what you do now, you're going to be in the bottom and you're going to go home because you said that. I don't think the producers think that far ahead. But I don't know. What do you think on that, Robert?
I think that I mostly agree with Taylor in that if we're watching the show and we see that confessional, then we know it's the kiss of death because we know the editors are building that story in fall. I agree with you that ultimately, if she's probably, several queens have said it, we just have never seen it in the show because it didn't feed or make their storyline somewhat more compelling. But I do think as viewers, we're definitely prepared to know if someone starts the episode, like Roxy did it in All Stars 9, Mistress did it this episode, I'm sure it's happened a few other times. You can look back and tell me, Joey. We know that someone's about to lose a fucking lip sync.
But I feel that's a little bit of confirmation bias because I feel there's a ton of times where people say something and it doesn't come true, and they have a red herring to make you think it will be that way, and then it just never materializes. Here's what I think. I think essentially, like, let's say you're the producers and there's 3 people that you're like, okay, these 3 people were the worst. And you're like, could it be Mistress? Could it be Aja? Could it be this? Well, Mistress did say this, or there's all these different factors. And they're like, okay, well, that tips the scale in Mistress. Because I said something that I want to, and it applies to that too, where I said, once Mistress was, as much as she could get away with hinting that she was saying that the game was rigged, that the producers were like, well, you're fucking over it. We're done. I think it's the same thing. It's not like, oh, we're going to boot you because of this. It's more like, well, when we're trying to make a decision who goes in the bottom 2, this doesn't work in your favor when you're being such a sour sport or a bad sport about this,
Yeah, I think we're kind of pulling everything back and looking at not Drag Race as a vehicle, but really just reality TV as a concept, which is that with 12 to 16 hours of raw footage, what are the most obvious apparent storylines that are emerging from the things people are saying and doing? And I think Mistress made herself very visible in those like several hours of raw footage. And so how else are they supposed to take the episode storyline? What else were other people giving, I wonder?
Yeah, true. That's a very good point. That's another sign I wasn't listening. But here's what I will say. Here's a good segue into what we were talking about before we went on the air, which is we were talking about how people who have reviewed the show have said, I don't read the reviews, but Robert was against my wishes, review raping me, and told me that with the horrible things people say about the show, which is what, Robert?
That there can be a hateful undertone that ultimately makes it seem as though not just me and you, I think I'm not accusing Taylor of it either. I think it's ultimately
people
just
accuse Taylor of this all the time. All right.
Well, regardless, I think we're all maybe not equally guilty because I think I enjoyed the show more than you do. But I think that there is undercurrent of us being like, ugh, well, the show, we clearly don't enjoy the show, and therefore, why are we spending time reviewing it? And are therefore we just spreading negativity?
I'm being honest. I don't turn on an episode already in the negative column for it. I literally genuinely hope every episode will be good. And I think for the most part of this season, I have liked the season. I think it seems to be that I feel, and I think for you too, Robert, that we've been tapped into sort of the zeitgeist of the general fandom. The problem with this fandom is that there is a certain percentage of just hardcore fans where the show can do no wrong.
Yeah, and I deeply do not believe in that.
Yeah, and I really do think that and what I've said before is it's because my nerve endings have been,
Fried.
sewn shut. They've been burned out. They're dead, right?
Your
I have
telomeres are over
burns.
it.
Yeah. So that to even say that I don't like the show is too strong of a feeling. But I do think we give the show, at least I give the show a fair shake. I've never heard you be particularly negative.
I mean, I am well aware that I am harsh and speak in a somewhat cutting, if not while currently smiling and laughing, which you don't really see on the podcast microphone, but it put in its own isolation. I think people could take my comments as being like too hateful and like derisive, that word.
I don't know. This is why I don't read the reviews, because I don't want to color how I think about the show. This is not going to color how I think about the show. I've heard about this for a long time. But there are people that I know who don't listen to the show and do watch the show, and they say the same thing. So I think we're on. Look, we wouldn't be as successful as we are if we were this out of touch with, again, the fandom. I just think that there are, certain fans.
I feel like, for instance, an example of me making a harsh statement that told me that I thought that I was maybe out of touch by being super judgmental, but then in hearing you and Taylor talk about it and also seeing comments on social media this weekend, I feel validated. I've said for years, like, and it is a harsh judgment. I recognize that. It's a little dismissive, but Diabetes' perception of punk, like, she needs to retire that term from her vocabulary. She has no concept of what punk is. It's all like, I watched Green Day once, and now I think shirt and tie encapsulate this concept of true punkness. Like, if anything, she's more seen in like the more 2004 or 5 MySpace type of concept of pop punk, as I've said for years. But like, you cannot be punk if you do punk in the same exact way that everyone does punk. Then you're doing punk as a look, not punk as a spirit. And Diabetes doesn't have punk as a spirit. She has punk as a reference on how to wear clothes and stick her tongue out and do the corny rock thing. It's very Hot Topic. But even then, Hot Topic did have real punks who went there because it worked. But Diabetes doesn't go any deeper into the concept beyond a very shallow perspective of very light alternative-ism. And I've kind of withheld that opinion because I know it's dismissive and rude, but really, like, the proof is in the pudding, dear. Like, we have seen it a million times, and I've like, please retire the term punk, Diabetes, from your perception of yourself. You are the farthest thing from punk. You are a random, awkward-looking white guy from fucking Springfield, Missouri, with nothing but a very clear axe to grind with every single person who crosses your path. That is not what punk make. That is not punk. Anyway, you and Taylor expressed the same, and I saw it on social.
I want to take back what I said, Robert. It's not negative. What I was going to say is that, if I'm going to use several examples of punk rock as an idea rather than an aesthetic that we've seen in drag, in terms of like RuPaul herself before she was the Glamazon, I think truly was punk rock in that what she was doing.
That's real punk, though.
Yeah, real punk. She was doing a gender expression that was neither man nor woman. It was fronting a band that did punk rock. It was like really trying to break the rules. Okay. Then you have, if you're looking at the show, this is not, what's so funny, the things I'm going to name, these two people are not punk in their aesthetic at all, but did very punk rock things. Is like Tammy Brown as an idea is very punk rock. Is that she flips the middle finger off at even the idea of RuPaul's Drag Race. And also, and you can look at the motivation for it all or whatever and question it, but Ben de la Creme just quitting the show when she was slain is kind of punk rock, you know?
I see that.
Yeah, but going in and just jumping up and down and wearing a spiky wig and looking like Joan Jett and stapling something to your ass cheek where there's barely any feeling at all, that's not punk rock.
It's just so reductive. And I know that obviously I am not punk. I'm not trying to posit this concept that I'm more punk than Diabetes or that I have but I've had plenty of real fucking actual punk friends in the true punk scene. And I know what real punk looks and feels and smells like. And Diabetes is the furthest thing from it. It's a costume that is quite frankly very cringeworthy.
Very interesting. Any other thoughts on this episode?
Well, I have a few actually.
Oh, great.
Did you notice during Irene the Aliens? Of course you noticed. I just want you to rant about it. She said that she's going to make you laugh like Jimmy Fallon.
Okay. I couldn't tell if she was being ironic or not. Was she just want to reference that stupid scene, that stupid moment when it's so cringy, but when his face got so frightened when he called RuPaul the drag queen and she did that bit. Is that what she's referencing? Somebody had the audio clip from it.
I didn't think about that.
Somebody in their number had the RuPaul saying drag queen in their number. I don't remember who it was.
I mean, maybe that was at the time of filming. No, because they filmed what, 5 months ago, so not too long ago.
Yeah, no. This happened. This RuPaul
happened
over
quite
a
a while ago. Yeah. So it wasn't like on the front lines of the zeitgeist at the time. I don't know. I was waiting for some kind of rhyme to justify why she said Jimmy Fallon as the arbiter of humor. I thought it was kind of camp.
No.
I also, because I'm hyperfixated on Jurassic Park at the moment, I just watched Jurassic World, and for some reason they decided to have a whole segment with Jimmy Fallon in a lab. I didn't get it, but the concept of Jimmy Fallon has been coming up for me in my little nerdy interest at the moment.
He's not funny at all.
But that's the point, isn't it?
Well, it's one of these things where he was kind of back in the day, the Matt Rife of the whole thing, where it was like, he was pretty cute, you know, like, and I don't mean like hot,
for sure.
Not hot, but he was cute, right? And I think people were like, oh, that's so cute. And he always did that thing where he was always laughing at everything on SNL, which I thought was really annoying, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then it somehow just slid into, oh, girl, don't get me started on this fucking whole rant about the talk show wars. But I think he was right person, right place, right time during the whole Conan, Jay Leno, Letterman, all talk show debacle. And just, you know, they're like, we want to go with someone who's safe and pleasant and will speak to a certain generation because he has a youthful energy. And that was him.
Yeah, I do think his greatest talent is being largely inoffensive.
Yeah, I think that's all NBC wants. But it's weird that when he first came on the scene, he kind of was the moment for a bit. And then I think people were just like, okay, then over it.
Still a weird reference for Irene the Alien to make.
Yeah. But that's Irene the Alien. She's punk rock. What other thoughts do you have?
I loved how much
Diabetes is punk rock the way you're a chubby chaser.
Oh. You refuse to hear me when I give you the nuances of that. Anyways, I loved how much you loved Lydia's egg.
It was great.
Performance. It was, I agreed with Taylor when he said, did you love it because it was a mess or because it was effectively good? Like, I thought that I watched this at High Tops East, where I thought we were going the day before to hang out with Christian, but I was misinformed.
No, but Christian said he didn't want to drink and then started to suggest places to drink. Why don't we go to my house and drink? I was like, I thought you didn't want to drink. Don't get me started on this. Go ahead.
I think that Lydia's egg performance, I enjoyed it because I saw the whole time the difficulty she was having taking off different rip-away, tearaways, whatever from her outfit. And I understand also, kind of like we talked about with Plain Jane and Jimbo, like Lydia tries to do some kind of absurdist, kind of like Dada-esque, vague type of there is no meaning here, I'm just being crazy, but I don't think she fully embodied like the depth of what that could look like. So I kind of enjoyed it also, but not, I think you objectively just enjoyed it for what it was, is what it sounds like.
I think I enjoyed it for all of it. I think I enjoyed it for conceptually what she was going for. I enjoyed it that it wasn't totally working. I enjoyed that nobody there was getting it. I enjoyed all of it. And also, I just fucking enjoyed that it wasn't a fucking other goddamn, I don't know what you call those tracks, but talking about how rad you are.
I mean, Drag Race will call it a bitch track, but a bitch track is supposed to be more or less like a constant roast and read of the other people you're performing with.
Okay, then we'll just say it for Drag Race terms, a bitch track. But like, just thank God it wasn't that. You already get points for me if it's not that.
And so, like I said last week, I think there was an inevitability that we were going to come on this topic. I think that if Drag Race did not call its talent show a talent show, if it didn't call itself a variety show, I think it would just do much better if it just called it a drag show. I think if we just pretended it was a Monday night at Mickey's, we pretended it was a Saturday brunch lineup, if we pretended it was just a drag show that's happening on your TV rather than like some supposed like myriad of talents that the world has never seen before, then I think our expectations would be properly aligned, and we would therefore enjoy and be able to accept several different lip syncs to relatively badly made songs.
I mean, you've given the producers a great idea because it's a very easy way to do it. A, you bring back Morgan McMichaels to host it, right?
We do need a host,
sponsor
yes.
it. Mickey's has sponsored shit in the past, right? So bring back Mickey's as a sponsor. Call it the Mickey's Monday night or whatever they called that stupid show. Have Morgan host it. And then even if you want to, you don't have to, but it would be really funny to the girls who know, put that stupid silvery background, whatever that is, as streamers.
Everyone has seen a lip sync from Showgirls at some point. We all know it. Yeah. My favorites, and I'll mention, I feel like running tally for mentions, when Jasmine Masters just pops her head out, I think during that Nicki Minaj medley from like fucking 12 years ago, I live.
Yeah, and it's called the Showgirls Review and brought to you by Mickey's, and that's what it is. The end. And they would make, they would live. They wouldn't be like, what is this? Not a talent show.
Yeah. I think the messaging has gotten muddied over the years.
What are your other big thoughts?
Well, another one on the talent show was, Mistress chooses to do Ruzempic, and she shows Michelle and T.S. Madison as befores, which was questionable, and then her song lyrics all reference bigger girls, and it made me remember that outfit she wore in season 15 that was just I think it was an homage to RuPaul's Drag Race racer look, and it was a racer suit with just all the bigger girls' names emblazoned on it. And it made me realize that Mistress just loves to call another bitch chunky.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Because she's a mean person.
Is that the only thing on the mind all the time?
I don't know if this was on the show or it was on her podcast, or I've seen clips of her everywhere. But she was talking about how, I think it was on the podcast, because she's talking about the different iterations her Snatch Game went through, where she was going to play Yolanda, then she was going to play some other person and hit RuPaul over the head with a bottle. I don't know. Or maybe this character was going to do that. And there was a whole bunch of different things that this Snatch Game went through. She's talking about it. And she said at some point, ultimately, the throwaway line, that the producers were pretty much okay with her doing whatever they want because she's so funny that she can just do whatever and it'd be funny. And I was like, that's the thing I was thinking about when on the drive, where I was like, is she known for being funny in for doing well in maxi challenges and performing?
No,
funny?
She thinks so though.
Yeah, like
because she thinks she's funny because she's like me, where she just laughs at everything that happens in life because life is a great comedy.
Yeah, but I've found, present company included, that often people who do say they laugh at everything are very serious people who just don't laugh at everything.
Would I have laughed at that if I was a very serious person who doesn't laugh
But
at
yeah, because you're
everything?
very smart.
You always think I'm conniving.
Yeah.
But I take your point, yeah.
And so I think I was thinking, like, when would they know that she's super funny? I'm not disagreeing that she's compelling television, and I'm not disagreeing that she makes great reality show villainy, or villain character. But I don't know that I necessarily call her genuinely funny just to be funny when she's trying to be funny,
She is quite literally just a Twitter gay. Let's wake it up.
Yeah. And that's why, I mentioned on the show, speaking of us being hateful bitches, that she's never going to learn her lesson because she has found success on Patreon, on Twitch, going on there and just being who she is. And she makes quite a bit of money doing it. And she probably would be well suited for a recap show on her Patreon because she would be nasty and mean and have no problem with it, and people would pay for it.
People do want to hear people be nasty and mean, myself included, sometimes, depending on the
Look,
mood.
I always wanted to do, and we have the technology to do it now, even though it would be a complete failure, but just to prove a point. I've always wanted to secretly release a podcast using AI voices.
Girl, enough.
Hold on, hear me out. And it would be, the original concept wasn't with AI voices. The original concept was with real voices. But the show would be like,
I'm back on board.
Yeah, Slay Queen. Slay Queen. I'm going to call it Slay Queen, right? And the show would be literally the most positive, bootlicking episode, drag race recap show ever, right?
I'm not that good of an actor.
No one would listen.
No, that's All Star 7
Oh, as a show.
as a spirit.
Yeah, as a spirit. Yeah. If that recap existed where people were just like, everything's great. By the way, I've heard those shows. They do exist. Because once again, not because they necessarily really think it, maybe they do, but again, they legitimately think, or maybe they're correct. Somebody told me they have some sort of relationship with World of Wonder, that World of Wonder listens, and that's how they're going to get to interview the drag queens and meet the drag queens. And essentially, they want their shows to be meet and greets. I don't want a drag queen on this show ever.
No, if I wanted to go meet a drag queen, I'd walk my ass out of my apartment and strut a mile away.
Yeah. I don't want one on this show. I don't want anyone. This show is for you, the fans. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
I mean, I remember I was brought onto the network with the conceit being that more or less the show is listening to two friends chop it up at the bar, recapping what happened in Drag Race, and sometimes whatever foolish nonsense goes on in their silly, ridiculous lives.
You've caught the vibe of Afterthought. And you were brought onto the show because I even remember back 10 years ago or so when Tommy and you met, and I met you for the first
Blue
time.
Collar.
At Blue Collar. Is that bar still there?
It is. I just went like 2 months ago.
Okay. And I remember you and I don't remember what the fuck we talked about, but that the conversation was very easy. And then I met you again through Christian. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. And basically, if I can have a good conversation with you and the vibe is good, I feel you can be on the show. Everything else will fall into place. The drag race and all, everything else falls into place. But if I can have a good vibe with you, that's all it takes. Thank you.
Passing the vibe check.
Passing the vibe check. Robert and I often have long conversations.
I just started Tears of the Kingdom again.
I can't. I have to
Not from the beginning, though. I think I was like 120 shrines in to 150, so I'm trying to find the last one so that I can just finally finish the Spirit Temple, I think is the last one that I had to do, and then go do what I must do.
But you know how these games work. Why?
Why what? Because I want to see the final cinematics and hear the music.
Oh, okay.
I won't listen to, like, for instance, I have 2 gigabytes of Tears of the Kingdom music on my phone, but I won't listen to any track past what I've played because I don't want to ruin the wonder of hearing amazing compositions in their proper context.
You know what I'll send you is I have it saved as a favorite on YouTube. For some reason, I got to remember these games are Japanese in nature. There's some Japanese orchestra that did the whole Tears of the Kingdom
I have it.
score. Oh yeah, it's
Yeah, I
great.
have
It's
it.
fantastic. I wish they would
So
do it again out here.
I remember going to E3 in 2017 and going then later that night to the Zelda Symphony. And then the next day they had the Pokemon Symphony, which was, just reorchestrations of the high points of all the music. And they were both so fucking good. I am like tomorrow, for instance, I'm seeing Alexandre Desplat at the Hollywood Bowl. So it's not like I don't get to experience phenomenal symphonies led by phenomenal composers. Like I think a few months ago I saw Joe Hisaishi, but video game music does not come around very often anymore. Maybe Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will come around at one more time. And I'll be able to hear it
Alexandre
again.
Desplat has scored a few of Chris's films. They're good friends.
Well, then maybe I need to get my seat upgraded.
Maybe you do. But what was I going to tell you? Is I don't even watch or I don't even play these Final Fantasy games. And I think not Christian. I think Aiden turned me on. Yeah, Commander Christian. Doll.
Christian actually has played Final Fantasy 7 and 10.
I can't imagine
he could
Christian
he'd
play
get
a video
references from it. No, he'd literally understand a reference to like.
What's the one with the opera?
That would be 7 is 6 has the iconic opera scene, but then 7 has several scenes on a stage at the Golden Saucer.
Whatever.
You're probably
the
thinking
iconic,
about 6.
Okay. Aiden turned me on to it because Aiden loves video game music. Loves it, right? Obsessed.
The fighting words.
Why? Do you listen to this?
Only
listen?
I can listen to video game music.
He listens to a whole podcast and like supports them and stuff like that.
Ooh, okay.
That does video game music, yeah. Anyway, I think it's called Super Mercado Brothers.
Okay.
And Robert, you can add it now to your list. And so I remember someone actually sang the aria. It must be from Final Fantasy VI in an orchestra, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's so beautiful."
I mean, I have so many recommendations.
Speaking of, I went to go get my hair cut the other day. I go to this Chicano. I always go to this guy where these young Chicanos are and stuff like that.
Surprising.
And I love it. It's like a young straight Chicano. Like, wait, I'm gonna piss off someone. Young Chicano.
Are you just like sweating all the time? Like in heat for these boys that you surround yourself with?
Why am I sweating right now?
No, I'm talking about like the panting you do over these straight boys.
Don't do this. Anyway, there was no parking that day. I luckily got a spot right away, but that we were talking about the no parking situation when I was getting my hair cut, and it was because they were having some huge Pokemon card show there, and I thought of you.
Okay. Oh. Well, I only collect the cards digitally. I don't collect the cards physically because if I did, then it'd be a problem.
It would be a problem. All right, why don't we end the show on that note? I think we've exhausted everything we're going to say, and our internet is not, and by I mean Robert's internet, is not working.
Has been sus bitch today.
Yeah.
So now that your flat tire has burst, now that you're sputtering into the parking lot for the end of All Stars, how much time do you think you'll need before we revisit season 2?
No time, because I'm not exhausted from doing the show. In fact, if anything, it's a breath of fresh air, A. B, what actually exhausts me about doing the recap isn't the show itself, believe it or not. It really is the way the show works. The nature of it as a water cooler show is like my Fridays are like the whole day prepping the show, then recording it. It's like literally everything has to be done at a lightning pace.
Yeah, to meet everyone's schedules.
Yeah, so on season 2, we have more of a casual thing. The audience might get like a 2-week break or something like that, but what I'll probably be doing is a lot of the work, recording some episodes, having some in the can in case you're like, oh, I'm going to Puerto Vallarta for a week or something, or
I actually have to start planning my best friend since 7th grade's bachelorette party. It's not that start planning. I need to finish planning it. It's happening in 2 weeks. So
that's right. You want that information on that suit as well. And also hey, listen, I got to start planning my trip to Europe next spring.
Ooh, work it. Has the confirmation, the location been confirmed?
I've heard through the grapevine that it's leaning heavily towards one.
But we'll see what the writer's room decides ultimately.
And I don't think it's right. I think it's one person. I think it's one person. His name's Alexander Skarsgård. Yeah. So I'll just say I think it looks more and more like I'll be going to the land of my people. Which I'm fine
Madrid?
with. Mm-hmm.
Live La Chueca.
I've never been to Spain.
I'd walk around there and they'd be like, cara, come inside. And I'd be like, me? I love that place.
Meanwhile, Robert will be looking at all the pudgy guys. Like just
my God.
the way Robert says I am at this Chicano haircutting place, that's the way Robert is at Shakey's Pizza.
A 6-pack is a red flag unless it's a 6-pack of beer.
And Robert said this the other day. By the way, we didn't talk about how when I was at this tea place, Robert and Christian were like super embarrassed by me the whole time.
That is not true.
You guys kept because I called someone was Che Diaz.
Well, you did say that very loudly to a seemingly gender non-conforming Latina woman with an earring. Maybe woman's not the right word to use. Person.
That's why I said Che Diaz. That's her pronouns.
And I'm sure they heard you, which was why Christian was like, girl, stop.
Yeah, if Christian tells you you're being too loud, it's a problem. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, Che Diaz.